Hi, good morning. My name is Elise McRae, and I am your world history teacher this summer. Sometimes you'll see me in the video, and sometimes you will just hear my voice, and today we're going to do that. So if you're listening carefully, a couple of directions. You will need to grab a sheet of paper out because you will submit these notes when you get done today. A couple things you want to put your first and last name, today's date, Unit 1, Foundations and Review, and sorry, you may hear a little thunder and a dog snoring, so just prepare for that. Unit 1 Foundations and Review. And for this video, you're going to take notes today. You can take it any way that you want, as long as it's organized and I can see the information displayed fully. One thing that I like to tell my students to do is the title of the slide and then maybe writing the notes underneath. So when we talk about Unit 1 in relation to Foundations and Review, we'll look at world maps today, and some timelines and the idea of geography as well. And so your topic today is going to be historical thinking and geography. How can I apply the dimensions of historical thinking, creation, development, perspective, and change to my understanding of history? And this is kind of more of a broad topic overall. So on your notes, you can put the topic historical thinking and geography, and then you can add your essential question. So, first and foremost, what is geography? I know that many of you in middle school are pretty familiar with geography, but it's the study of the physical features of the earth and of the distribution of life on earth. So, when we look at geography and geographical features, we look at maps, and maps can present themselves in many different ways. We use maps to study demographics like how population of humans or what type of features are present. For instance, when you're looking at this map, there's a lot of green in some areas, and there's a lot of that brown sandy color, and also this map even shows you kind of where mountain ranges are. So when we talk about geographical features, even in relation to the United States, if you look here, you've got a lot of green, you can see all the rivers, and then you have more mountainous dry areas, like you see Appalachian Mountains here in North Carolina, and you have Rocky Mountains and things like that in the western part of the United States, and these are all the types of geographical features. When you look at the United States, or even just North Carolina in general, North Carolina lives in a very much a plush area of forest. We have a lot of forests, we have mountain ranges, but also, like, for instance, I'm from Jacksonville, North Carolina, and we have a lot of swamps in that area. And so when we talk about features, these features help humans understand and navigate the world around them. And so it also helps people discover landmarks or areas, just so they can prepare for the terrain, and things like that. So that's geography, and we'll look more at maps later. So when we talk about the world map, we have a continent. A continent is one of the Earth's 7 main divisions of land, like Asia, Africa, North America, South America, Antarctica, Europe, and Australia. You live in the continent of North America. So these are larger regions of the world. And within continents, they house countries. So, countries are going to be a region that is identified as a distinct entity, whether it's politically, socially, and culturally. So, for instance, we live in the country of the United States of America. There are two other countries. Excuse me, guys, I'm so sorry. There are two other countries that go into that continent as well, which is Canada to our north, and also Mexico to our south. Then you have Central America and South America in that area of our side of the world. So when we talk about that, continents house countries. And so a lot of times students get that confused, but just keep in mind that continents house countries, so countries are within, and countries manifest based off of political, social, and cultural borders that humans develop. So let's talk about some timelines and dates. This would be kind of like a new subheading if you want, since you're moving away from geography. So when we talk about the old dating system in history, we had two systems, we have two systems now, but the old dating system is going to be BC, which is before Christ, and AD, which is Anno Domini, which is the year of our Lord. So I want you to take a brief moment in your notes, put a little spot, and I want you to write, so take a pause. Why would historians stop using this system? Why would they stop using this system? And I'm going to check your notes, so if you want to put a star by them so I can see what you wrote, okay? I'll give you a pause. Excellent. And so when we talk about the new dating system for history, BCE is the before Common Era, and this is before year one. So there is not really a year zero. In history, we don't do a year zero, we do a year one, because time When we talk about the before Common Era, it's a dating system that's built off the birth of Jesus of Nazareth. Now, historians don't use religious connotations in dating. So we have before Common Era, which is before year one, and then we have the Common Era, which is year one. So when you look at this, the centuries count down, and then eventually they count up. And I'm going to give you a diagram in a second to add to your notes. So when you look here in relation to time, time counts down until year one, and then it counts back up for the AD, or as I like to say, BCE and CE. So that says AD, but it should be CE. So when we talk about that, you live in the year 2025, which is CE, as in the Common Era, okay? But the Roman Empire existed in the BCE and the CE because it straddled time, okay? I'm going to give you something to practice with that in a little bit. So, how do historians group time? We group time in decades, as in 10 years, then centuries, which is 100 years, and then millennium, which is 1,000 years. Like you guys live in the newer millennium, which is the year 2000 or the 21st century, okay? And you can do in your head right now how many centuries old you are, okay? So, like, you're probably potentially 1 century and some change old, whereas Miss McCrae is about 3 centuries old and some change. Does that make sense? But what's funny, or when we talk about decades, sorry, not centuries, excuse me, decades. But what's funny is Miss McCrae has lived in 2 centuries where you have lived in one. And we'll practice some dating with that in a second. So when we talk about centuries, centuries are 100 years long, and to figure out what century a year belongs in is really simple, the addition of one. So like the year 1886, you take that 18 right here in this area, and if you add one, you get the 19th century, okay? So I want you to take a brief second in your notes, and I want you to practice these examples really quick. So take a moment, you can put them in, and typically what I would do in my face-to-face class is I would have you practice with a neighbor, but you're going to just practice this in your notes. So the title for this slide would be Decoding Centuries, and you can jot this down and then do these. Take a brief moment and do these examples for your years. All right, I'm going to move on to the next slide so that you can kind of see and we can go from there. So we're going to take it a little further today, and I'm going to give you a practice, but and that'll be in the module for you today. Another thing I want to talk to you about is linear history. Linear history is going to be all the events that are written in chronological order. Why do you think that we learn history in linear order? Like, do you feel like you have to, or do we not? So I'd like for you to take a brief moment in your notes and just kind of answer, do you believe we have to learn in linear order or not? When we talk about history, a lot of times we do organize it in linear or chronological order so that people kind of know when things have manifested. So, like, for example, you have this timeline of cell phones. Well, it's really great to have it in linear or chronological order because you can kind of see where you're starting and where you're ending. And this ends at 2024, but imagine, like, think about, or 2014, excuse me, 2014. Think about what our phones look like now in comparison to even 5 years ago. And so when we talk about that, when we're studying history, sometimes it's beneficial to look at things in linear order, but a lot of times you can learn history with themes like conflict or conquest. And we will pick back up with sourcing tomorrow.